Today, we're looking at something a bit different. We're drawing from some source material you shared, specifically accounts that reportedly come from a YouTube video. I think it was called 3 Creepy True Fire Drill Stories.
That's the one. And our aim here really is to explore these narratives. They describe some, doubly unsettling kind of mysterious things that supposedly happen during ordinary school fire drills.
Right, so not just analyzing, but recounting these experiences as they're described, trying to understand what allegedly went down during these moments that are meant for safety.
Exactly. It's this strange inversion, isn't it? A safety procedure becoming the setting for something. Well, unsafe, according to these accounts.
Let's just dive into the first story then. This one apparently happened in middle school. The person telling it was in 8th grade, so 14 maybe?
Yeah, around that age.
Yeah.
And they're in math class, and there's already a heads up that a fire drill is going to happen soon.
Okay, so a planned drill. But this student, they needed the bathroom pass.
Right, just needed to go before the drill started. Seems totally normal. Gets the pass, heads out into the hall.
Goes to the main floor bathroom, the closest one probably, but finds it's out of order.
Typical school stuff. So they're standing there, maybe wondering where to go next, and this random older guy appears in the hallway, asks about bathrooms.
A bit weird, maybe. The student points him upstairs or downstairs, just gives direction.
Yeah, but then decides, actually, they'll go downstairs. Partly, the account suggests, just to kind of avoid the guy, create some distance.
Which, looking back based on the story, was a huge decision.
Definitely. So this downstairs bathroom, it's described as being on a lower level, not used much. Often the lights are apparently kept off.
So, kind of isolated. They go down there into this dim, maybe dark bathroom, find a stall, go in, and then the alarm hits.
Right on cue, the fire alarm starts blaring, lights flashing outside the bathroom.
Yeah.
And you have to imagine that feeling. Alone, in a stall, everything going off.
Yeah, the account says their heart just dropped. Like, what do you even do? Everyone else is supposed to be heading outside.
And it gets worse. The bathroom door opens, the alarm noise gets louder from the doorway, and they hear footsteps. Someone's coming in.
Okay, so first thought is probably a teacher, right?
Yeah.
Doing a sweep, checking rooms.
That's what you'd think. But nobody calls out. No, anyone in here. Just footsteps. Coming closer to the stall.
Oh, that's not good.
No. And this is where it gets really tense in the retelling. They look through the little crack in the stall door, and they see shoes.
Okay.
But the shoes aren't just, standing there waiting.
What do you mean?
Well, the account says then they see a face, pressed right against the crack, an eye, wide open, staring in.
Oh my God, no!
And then a chuckle, a sound from whoever's out there, their hearts pounding, breathing hard, totally panicked now.
Because this is obviously not a teacher checking the bathroom.
Not at all.
Yeah.
And then the person outside gets down on their knees, sticks their head under the stall door.
Under the door.
Yeah. And the account says it's the same older guy from the hallway. He sees the kid, and then he actually crawls under the door, into the stall.
He enters the stall. That's incredibly brazen and terrifying.
That's what the account claims. Crawls in, grabs the student, covers their mouth, starts saying things like, "Don't struggle, just relax."
Unimaginable. The source mentions feeling like it wasn't real, life flashing before their eyes. At 14.
Just pure terror. Seems like there's no way out.
But then, another sound. The alarm gets louder again. The main bathroom door opens. And this time, it's the principal's voice. Is anybody in here?
Wow. Talk about timing. Right at the absolute worst moment, potential help arrives.
They try to scream, but it's muffled, right? Hand over the mouth. But the principal hears something.
Goodness.
Rushes over to the stall, starts trying the door, yelling, "Open the door!" The man inside lets go, apparently shoves the stall door open right into the principal and just bolts. Runs out.
A sudden, chaotic escape. Did they catch him?
Apparently not. The principal was older, didn't chase him. And the account stresses the school didn't have cameras in that area. So, likely got clean away.
Unbelievable.
So close. The aftermath sounds pretty intense. The principal hugged this student, was really shaken up himself, took them to call their parents. They saw friends later, felt embarrassed, but mostly just safe.
Understandable. And there's a crucial detail later about why the principal was even there.
Yes. This makes it even more incredible. Apparently, the principal had actually seen that same man pull the fire alarm up in the hallway and then run downstairs.
So he wasn't just doing a random check. He was actively following the guy he saw trigger the alarm.
Exactly. He went straight to that specific bathroom because he saw the man run that way. Makes him even more of a hero in that moment.
Absolutely. Quick thinking, followed his instincts. The account mentions he passed away years later, but the student never forgot. calls him a hero.
A genuine hero. Wow. Okay, let's shift to the second story from the source material. This one's also high school, also a fire drill, but used differently.
Yeah, this one's about a group of friends who apparently decided to use the fire drill as cover to sneak out.
Right, skip the drill. The setting is described as a dark, kind of cloudy day, third period. And like the first story, word got around a drill was imminent.
And their plan, according to the account, was to ditch the official evacuation and head to the spot behind the school, near some woods, called the Sump. Apparently a known spot for kids to hang out, smoke, whatever.
Okay, so they saw the drill as an opportunity. The account even says the alarm was music to their ears.
Hey, yeah, typical teenage rebellion, maybe.
Yeah.
They had a whole strategy. Get out fast, head for a back entrance, not the main field, blend in, then slip through a gap near the tennis courts.
Sounds planned out. They get to this sump, described as a big hole surrounded by trees and bushes right on the edge of the woods.
And the atmosphere is part of it, too. You know, the dark day, clouds looking like a storm brewing. It added to the thrill, apparently. They waited for things to quiet down a bit.
And then things get weird. The person telling the story, the protagonist, sees something. Thinks they see a person's face way off by the woods, partially hidden.
Okay, first sign something's off.
Yeah, they pointed out, look away briefly, look back, and it's gone. They weren't totally sure, maybe 70% sure it was a person, given the poor light.
Introduces that doubt early on. Was it real? Imagination.
They start smoking, and the protagonist gets paranoid. Keeps thinking about that face, worried they're being watched. But the friends decide, hey, let's walk to this old shack deeper in the woods. Only a minute away, apparently.
Even though the protagonist is feeling uneasy. And it's starting to rain lightly.
Yeah, they're reluctant, but go along. And on the way there, they hear something. Footsteps, not belonging to the group. Then a big stick snaps behind them.
Okay, that's more concrete than maybe seeing a face.
Right. But they ask their friends, did you hear that? And the friends apparently heard nothing. I think the protagonist is just high, freaking out.
Isolating them further with their fear. Classic horror setup, almost.
They get to the shack. It's described as bigger, creepier than they remembered. Looks ready to fall down, path overgrown. Front door is wedged open slightly.
Definitely sounds like a place you wouldn't want to just wander into, especially feeling paranoid.
They go inside anyway. It's super dark, old broken crates everywhere, and a smell. A really nasty smell they don't remember from before.
Ugh, that's a bad sign. A smell suggests something organic. Recent activity.
Could be.
Oh.
And then sounds. Inside the shack, a weird squishy plopping sound. Then a definite footstep on the wooden floor.
Oh boy. They're not alone in there.
Nope. And in a corner, just visible in the dim light, they see a shadow, an outline of someone described as really tall.
Okay, time to leave now.
That's what they did. The account says no screaming, just
Yep.
nope. Turned around, walked out fast, started running back towards the sump.
Smart move. But did they see anything else?
Yes. This is maybe the peak moment. All three friends apparently look back towards the shack window, the one nearest where the figure was. And just then, lightning flashes. First big flash of the storm.
Oh, dramatic reveal incoming.
And how? What they reportedly saw, lit up for that second, was a guy's face pressed right against the glass. But it was deformed. Seriously deformed. The description is graphic, like half his face was drooping, couldn't see one eye. Almost didn't look human.
Whoa. Okay, that confirms it wasn't just a shadow. Something truly disturbing was in that shack.
They properly run then, full sprint back to the sump area as the rain picks up. But it's still not over.
What else?
Friend points back up the hill, towards the woods again. There's another person, standing behind a shrub, just their face showing. Much closer this time, 10 times closer, the account says, but still too far to really see features clearly.
Another one. And the account is clear. This wasn't the same person from the shack.
Yeah, explicitly says it wasn't the same guy. So potentially two separate weird figures lurking around during this fire drill escapade.
That raises so many questions. Were they connected? Just a bizarre coincidence. The source doesn't say, I assume.
Nope, they just ran. Got back to the school building, hid by the back entrance out of the rain, and basically made a pact right there.
Was a pact.
Go home, forget this happened, don't tell anyone, and never go back to that shack or those woods. And apparently they stuck to it.
Wow. A shared trauma just buried. That's intense. Okay, one more story from the source, right? The third one.
Yeah, the final one. Also high school. This involves a sort of hidden or little known part of the school.
Intriguing. What's the setup here?
The account describes this specific door that most people didn't know about or use. It supposedly led down a half stairway to this dark, hidden hallway.
Right.
And this hallway, rumor had it, could access basically any room in the school. But the key thing was, it was reportedly only ever unlocked or opened during fire drills.
A secret passage, essentially only accessible during emergencies. That's definitely curious.
Yeah. So the protagonist and their friend Kyle were super curious. What's down there? The account is funny here, admits they were pretty bad students, and this whole plan wasn't their dumbest idea.
Sets the scene for some rule-bending exploration, driven by that mystery.
So, study hall. Alarm goes off. Perfect opportunity. Their plan.
Right.
Run to a specific bathroom they knew had a door stopper.
To prop the door open slightly.
No, I think just to hide inside. Get in a stall, wait for the hallways to clear out from the main evacuation rush.
Ah, clever. Use the chaos. Did it work?
Perfectly, according to the account. They hide out, wait, then head for this mysterious door and go downstairs.
Okay, heading into the unknown, what's it like down there?
Starts dim, but then after another doorway and another half flight of stairs, total darkness. They can't find a light switch, have to use their phone screens to see anything.
Creepy. Just navigating by phone light in a pitch black, unfamiliar school basement hallway.
Exactly. And using those lights, they find another door. This one has a big do not enter sign on it.
Naturally, that just makes them want to open it more, right?
Of course, curiosity wins. But the door is hard to open, described as really heavy, scraping the floor like it was maybe off its hinges or just hadn't been opened in ages.
Suggests it's really not meant to be opened. They managed to get it open, though.
Yeah, they struggle but force it open. Inside is just a small square room, maybe 10 feet by 10 feet, but it's not quiet.
Oh. What do they hear?
Sounds, first like clicking, metallic dinging, coming from a vent in the corner of the room.
Okay, mechanical sounds? Could be anything. Pipes, HVAC.
Maybe, but as they get closer to the vent, the sounds change. They start hearing grunting and groaning type noises.
Oh, that's not mechanical. That sounds biological. Human or animal.
Exactly, super unsettling shift. And then Kyle, the friend, apparently dares the protagonist. Hover your phone screen over the vent, see what's in there.
Oh, the classic dare. Peer pressure meets terrifying situation.
Does he do it?
Yeah, the account says curiosity just took over, wanted to know what was making those noises. So they get down on their knees, put the phone screen up to the vent slats. Can clearly hear breathing now. Right there, inside the vent.
Breathing. Okay, that's confirmation something alive is in there. And then they take it one step further. Put their actual ear right against the vent.
No. Why would you? Okay, what happens?
Instantly, something grabs their ear from inside the vent.
What? Physical contact. Reached through the vent.
Yeah. Total panic. They scream. Kyle reacts fast, pulls the hand off their ear. They jump back. And then they see it. A hand reaching out through the vent slots.
A hand reaching from inside the ventilation system in this locked-off basement room?
Yeah.
That is horrifying.
Completely. They don't stick around, run out of the room, slam the heavy door shut, struggle with it again, and just bolt back upstairs, back to the bathroom they hid in earlier.
I don't blame them. What about afterwards? Do they tell anyone?
Well, the next day, still freaked out, they apparently talked to one of the school janitors, a guy named Tom. The account says he was surprisingly chill about them being down there, not mad, just asked what they were doing.
Okay. Strange reaction, maybe.
So they tell him the story, the sounds, the breathing, the hand grabbing the ear, reaching through the vent. And they ask him, was someone working down there, in the vents, in that room?
Hoping for a simple explanation, right? Maintenance guy's stuck. Something weird but explainable.
Exactly. But the janitor's answer, according to the source, just chills them. He says, basically, nobody's been in that room for years, and there's no way into that vent from down there anyway.
No way in. So whatever or whoever was in that vent shouldn't have been there and seemingly couldn't have gotten in from that side.
That's the implication. The story ends with the protagonist and Kyle just staring at each other, hearts sinking, realizing something completely unknown and inexplicable was inside that vent.
Leaving it totally unresolved. Just something was there.
Wow. So, yeah. Across these three accounts, you see this recurring theme, don't you? Fire drills, supposed moments of safety and order becoming these windows into something else.
Yeah, moments of vulnerability or maybe opportunity for some that lead to these encounters in hidden corners of familiar places. The bathroom, the woods, the basement.
Encounters with unknown people, potentially dangerous people, or in that last case, something just Unknown, unexplained.
It highlights how routines being disrupted can expose things we don't normally see, or allow access to places usually off limits. And it plays on that fear of the familiar suddenly turning strange or threatening.
A principal's quick thinking averting disaster, genuinely unsettling figures lurking just out of sight, and then a hand from a vent with no explanation.
Right. It really leans into that unsettling idea that maybe we don't fully know the places we think we do, that there could be hidden elements, even dangers just beneath the surface. The accounts definitely leave you with that lingering sense of unease.
Makes you think, doesn't it? What might be overlooked in plain sight or just around the corner in the places we go every day? What could pop up when things get disrupted? Something to consider.
Absolutely. These stories, as they're told in the source, certainly leave you with some chilling questions.
Well, thank you for walking through these pretty creepy accounts with us today.